All right, good morning everybody in class, the students that we have physically present. Good morning those who will be watching later on the video channel of the ministry. So before I do start in prayer, just have a reminder for those present and those who are watching on YouTube as well, that next week there will be no class, no physical presence. I won't be here simply because of the long weekend. I just want to respect that. It will be the Easter long weekend, the Monday, the Good Friday, and so on and so forth. However, I'd like to invite you to Thursday, this coming Thursday, here at the IBC, the church. We will be partaking communion for the first time and also alluding to the Good Friday message and so on. And this class here, just for the sake of what's going on outside in the world system, will be lasting for about an hour, 10 minutes. 2 sessions of 35 minutes this morning with a pause, a brief pause, and so on. And I'm planning with you for sure to finish the book of Daniel in the next, until the end of April and the beginning of May. So I probably won't be starting Revelation, but maybe. So this is yet to be confirmed. If we commit the summer to the book of Revelation in this capacity, I think it would be nice to do it. But I haven't called the final decision yet. So follow us on the YouTube channel with the emails that you receive from Olga, and those who are physically present with us. Thank you for coming. It's encouraging for me, beloved, all of you 5 here, not to have to speak to the camera alone. So let's take our time of silent time, and then we open in our Bible in your Daniel chapter 11 as we get into Antiochus the Fourth Epiphanes. We'll see how it goes. It's another one that is a bit tedious, but we're getting close to the Antichrist. So we certainly need a spiritual protection upon us. Let's take silent time and pray. Gracious Father, I first thank you for your faithfulness, your love and your holiness, and your patience with us. Father, with all transparency, doing these classes with people present in front of me and those who are watching online, and your grace above all things, keep me sane. Keep me sane. Sorry. Lord, I know that you have a plan and everything is unfolding according to your divine standards. I am asking you, Father, that we may be back to a somewhat normal situation soon. The lack of gathering of the saints together, Father, has affected us. I don't find it healthy. I do not agree, Father, with this. I need to confess to you. If I am sinning by not agreeing, Father, cover me with your grace. The church is essential. We are the pillars of the living truth. So if the church is not an essential, what do we do with the truth? Father, thank you for your mercies and patience with a person like me. Help us to refine focus. I don't use the expression stay focused because the focus has already been lost. Guide us in your way. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Beautiful. If you can turn in your Bible in Daniel chapter 11 and scroll down to verse 21 with your eyes and get your main outline here, right here in the middle. Antiochus Epiphanes the fourth. Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes. The fourth is not there, but I will say that so often that it's going to become anchored in your soul and so on. So that's where we left. We did the Ptolemies, Philadelphus, and so on, the tedious part. And then the first part this morning will be again somewhat kind of hard to follow to an extent, but I'm going to try to take my time and to give you as much as information, but persevere, because Arabic number 5 is about the Antichrist, and we need to learn these things because the Antichrist, or rather his spirit, the spirit of the Antichrist or against Christ, is very much at work now within our governments at large and within what's going on outside of these worlds in the cosmos system, because we know that Satan has authority over that planet right now. It's been given to him divinely type of thing until the Messiah comes back, establish his kingdom, and for us to see the reign of righteousness. Simply keep in mind, beloved, that as much as we pray for the situation, this planet will never, ever, one time find peace outside of Messiah. So that's why we cannot allegorize his coming. He is coming back to establish the 1,000-year kingdom, and that should be the core of the faith of all Christians on the planet. No right to allegorize these things. So we take Antiochus IV Epiphanes, and it's broken down in A, B, C, D. So let's take lowercase a, his rise to power, 21 to 24. Come with me. In his place, circle in his place, a despicable person will arise. Circle despicable person will arise. On whom the honor of kingship has not been conferred, but he will come in a time of tranquility, circle tranquility, and seize the kingdom by intrigue, circle intrigue. The overflowing forces will be flooded away before him and shattered, and also the prince of the covenant, circle the prince of the covenant. After an alliance is made with him, he will practice deception, and he will go up and gain power with a small force of people. Circle small force of people. In the time of tranquility, he will enter the richest parts. Circle the richest parts of the realm, and he will accomplish what his father never did, nor his ancestors. He will distribute plunder, booty, and possessions among them, and he will devise his scheme against strongholds, but only for a time. Circle only for a time. May God bless you in your study this morning. Capital A is rise to power. This is Antiochus IV Epiphanes. And in verse 21, we have the usurping of the throne by Antiochus IV Epiphanes. The usurping of the throne on his part. When I did ask you to circle in his place, the expression in his place is in reference to Seleucus IV, Philopator. In place of Seleucus IV, Philopator. Also in verse 21, I did ask you to circle the expression a despicable person. The despicable person is Antiochus IV Epiphanes. And the meaning of the word here in the Old Testament Hebrew is illegitimate. Illegitimate. Illegitimate or despicable, because he was not a rightful king. He was not a rightful king. He was not a rightful king. That's why we have the next statement here, on whom the honor of kingship had not been conferred. So he was not the rightful heir. H-E-I-R. He was not the rightful heir. Antiochus IV Epiphanes was not the rightful heir. The rightful heir were either Demetrius That's how you write it. I think you know how to write this one. The rightful heir was either Demetrius here or Antiochus. It's another Antiochus, not this Antiochus, or Antiochus. And these two sons were the sons of Seleucus IV, Philopator.
Sons of who?
Sons of Seleucus IV, Philopator. These two were the rightful heir. Demetrius, or let's call him this Antiochus, the young Antiochus, just to make a difference with Antiochus number 4. Antiochus the Young at that point was held hostage in Rome. Antiochus the Young one was held hostage in Rome. In verse 21b, where it says, "He come in time of tranquility, Antiochus IV came in peace." He came in peace into the city of Antioch. He came in peace into the city of Antioch, which is the capital of Syria. He came in peace to Antioch, which at that time was the capital of Syria. And he came, Antiochus IV Epiphanes, he came pretending to protect Antiochus the Young, who was held hostage in Rome. Pretending to protect him because he was the rightful heir. He was pretending in Syria to protect Antiochus the Young one, who was held hostage in Rome. In verse 21c, it says, "And seized the kingdom by intrigue." Basically, he got Antiochus the Young one murdered by another man. So the rightful person was gone. At least one of them. He hired somebody to kill Antiochus the Young, and after that he killed the person that killed him, not to leave any trace of what he did. That's the character of Antiochus IV Epiphanes. In verse 22, "The overflowing forces will be flooded away." Circle your expression, "flooded away," before him, and shattered, and also the prince of the covenant. The expression "flooded away" is symbolic expression. It is a symbolic expression of military invasions. Who did that? Antiochus IV Epiphanes. He basically did military conquests. And at that time, Egypt was trying to retake Israel. At that time, Egypt was trying to regain Israel. At that time, Egypt was trying to regain the territory of Israel because of the civil war that was happening in Syria. These are just the highlights of it. Then in verse 22, it's also said, "Away before him, and shattered also the prince of the covenant." The prince of the covenant is the Jewish high priest. The Jewish high priest was the leader of the theocracy. Theocracy is Israel. The Jewish high priest was the leader of the theocracy. And you find the same expression the Prince of the Covenant in verses 28 and 32 of the same chapter.
So that's who the prince
Versus the Prince, you will see the Prince of the Covenant again appearing in verses 28 and 32 of the same chapter. At that time, the righteous high priest was Onias the third. At that time, the righteous high priest, he was righteous, was Onias. Let me see if I have it right. Onias, it's a U. I can renew that. The third, and he was the righteous high priest. And Onias the third, the righteous high priest of Israel, was replaced by Menelaus. He was replaced by Menelaus. This one was not the righteous high priest. Onias the third was replaced by Menelaus. And Menelaus killed Onias the third in 172 BC. Menelaus, who was not the righteous high priest, killed Onias the third in 172 BC. And one thing that I forgot to tell you at the very beginning, I forgot to tell you that your number 4 here, Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes, is important because we have a festival of Israel because of that person, which is the Feast of Hanukkah.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Do you remember the Feast of Hanukkah that I do celebrate with this, not menorah, but this candelabra? 8. So that's the menorah, not the menorah. This is the lampstand of Hanukkah. This is the Feast of Israel kept by Christ in December. And this came to pass, that celebration, because of Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes.
How do you spell Hanukkah?
Oh, you have different ways to spell it. That actually Hanukkah can go that way.
Pick one.
Hanukkah.
Oh,
Okay, that's the most common one. So the Feast of Hanukkah came into being because of Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes. Verse 23. After an alliance is made with him, he will practice deception, and he will go up and gain power with a small force of people. In verse 23, we have the growth of power of this person, Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes. This is the growth of his power described there in verse 23. He made an alliance with Egypt. And he had a sister in Egypt, in influence, Cleopatra. That was his sister that was in a position of influence. And he was supporting Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes, was a supporter of the people around him only to gain control. He was not a genuine person. Was supporting the people around him only to gain power and control in Egypt and in Syria. He became strong by deceit. He became strong by deceit. And when you have in verse 23 the small people, this is his nation, Syria. Because his father was defeated. The father of Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes was defeated by Rome. Who was that person? Would you remember? Probably not. It was Antiochus the third the Great. His father was defeated by Rome, so that's why the small force in Syria gained power, but his nation was a small people at that time. Because his father was defeated, and his father was Antiochus the third, makes sense, not Epiphanes, but the Great. And finally in verse 24, when it says, in the time of tranquility, he will enter the richest part of the realm, and he will accomplish what his father never did, nor his ancestors. He will distribute plunder, booty, and possessions among them, and he will devise his scheme against strongholds, but only for a time. That verse describes his growth and wealth. That verse describes his growth, Antiochus Epiphanes IV, his growth and his wealth. When I ask you to circle the richest part here, it's the fertile country that he attacked in his own country. He attacked fertile countries, seizing their produce, even within his own territory, even within Syrian territory. He attacked and seized their produce and so on, a thing that his father never did. He was a wicked person. His father never did that, attacking the farmers in his own country. His father did plunder, but not to that extent. And his father did conquer to make money for himself. But Epiphanes the fourth, Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes, he plundered. And what was the usage of that money? To bribe people, to gain territory and to gain favor. He did it with Egypt. So the money that he got from the farmers and so on was going to bribe people to gain power in different places. What I say right now might look tedious, but I would like to have your attention, those in class and those on YouTube. Make your notes. It's tedious. It's not that explosive and so on. But that will be exactly the nature of the Antichrist. And at the present time, this is even the nature of some in authority in these countries here in North America. Shaking hands with people in order to make friends, not necessarily protecting the people in the way that they should be protected. So that's why we are heading up to the one world government slowly, perfectly on the right track, even with what's going on outside. So it's 5 minutes on the clock of time. It's ticking. We are approaching the end time. And us as Christians, if we place our faith in that kind of people, we might be disappointed. So these classes are imperative to download on your soul an antivirus to be able to discern the speech of leaders such as Antiochus IV Epiphanes, and most importantly, the speech of the one to come, which is the Antichrist. You will never be deceived to the point of losing salvation. This is completely unbiblical from the devil. But we need together to leave a legacy behind of solid faith to our children and grandchildren and so on. This is imperative to do these books. So we study the character that, because this man here, Antiochus IV Epiphanes, is a type of the Antichrist. So look at the gaining of power, flattering speech, shaking hands with people that we should abstain from, to make agreement and to make alliances and so on. Need to be aware of these things because it has a danger. Okay? And also in verse 24 you have the expression, but only for a time. Only for a time, it ends up being 12 years. Make a note of that, 12 years. Let's take smaller case B, the first Egyptian campaign. Visualize your outline right now, that's where you should be. The first Egyptian campaign, 25 to 28. Come with me. He will stir up his strength and courage against the king of the south, circle south, with a large army. Circle large army. So the king of the south will mobilize an extremely large and mighty army for war, but he will not stand, for schemes will be devised against him. Those who eat his choice food will destroy him, and his army will overflow, but many will fall down slain. As for both kings, circle as for both kings, their hearts will be intent on evil, and they will speak lies to each other at the same table. Circle, same table. But it will not succeed, for the end is still to come at the appointed time. Then he will return to his land with much plunder, but his heart will be set against the holy covenant, and he will take action and then return to his own land. We are laboring right now under lowercase b or parenthetical b here from 25 to 28. And this is the first, so-called first campaign of Antiochus IV. First Egyptian campaign. So verses 25 to 26 describe the first war against Egypt, because the south that I ask you to circle is down south, Egypt. And the king of Egypt at that time was Ptolemy VI Philometor. Ptolemy VI Philometor, not Pater, but Philometor. And he was the son of Cleopatra that we have seen in the first part this morning. He was the son of Cleopatra. He came against Egypt to control the land of Israel. That's Antiochus IV. He came against Egypt to control, in order to control the land of Israel, which was given to a lady named Bernice at that time as a dowry. And that goes back in 170 BC. Israel was given to Bernice as a dowry, and it was in 170 BC. In verse 25b, he came with an extremely large army, extremely large and mighty army for war. And this battle, this very battle, because of the fulfillment, the exactitude of the fulfillment of prophecy, was fought in North Sinai. Right there, actually. There is a little dot right here, North Sinai here, on a mountain. It was fought there, East Nile Delta. And Ptolemy VI Philometor at that point was captured by Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Ptolemy VI Philometor at that point was captured by Antiochus IV Antiochus IV Epiphanes. And make a note which is simple for you to do. One reason they lost the war was because of corruption within his own ranks. There was corruption within his own ranks, within the ranks of Antiochus IV Epiphanes. Let's finish the first session in 27 and 28. As for both kings, verse 27, circle this. The both kings, who are they? You know already. Not going to challenge you to answer the question. As for both kings, it's Antiochus IV Epiphanes on the board behind me, and Ptolemy VI Philometor, who at that point was now captured by Epiphanes. Was captured, but they didn't win the war in a sense. Their hearts on evil, I ask you to circle that also. Their hearts were on evil. Why hearts evil right now? Because after Ptolemy VI Philometor was captured, after Ptolemy VI Philometor was captured, the people of Alexandria in Egypt made the brother of Ptolemy VI Philometor, they made his brother. Who was his brother? Ptolemy VIII Euergetes, the king. So they made his brother the king in Alexandria, close to the water in Egypt. This area here of Egypt.
What number was his brother?
Philometor VIII Euergetes. That's how we write it. Euergetes, difficult to pronounce. So they made Ptolemy VIII Ergigetus the king here, after basically Ptolemy the sixth Philometor was captured. So Antiochus IV was in some trouble at that time because of what the people of Alexandria did. So this man, or man of the occasion here, Antiochus IV Epiphanes, was in some trouble because of what the people of Alexandria did by putting Philometor the eighth Ergigetus the king. So guess what he did, Antiochus IV? He pretended to be the friend of Ptolemy the sixth. He pretended to be his friend of Ptolemy the sixth. And he promised him to gain all Egypt back to him. Antiochus IV promised Ptolemy the sixth, who was not made king in Alexandria, he promised him to regain all Egypt back for him. And that's why they speak lies at one table, exactly like the Antichrist will do when he will sign the covenant of peace, the covenant of hell of Isaiah, with the nation of Israel. Speaking lies at one table, Antiochus pretended to conquer Egypt. Antiochus pretended to conquer Egypt on behalf of Ptolemy the sixth. And Ptolemy the sixth pretended to believe him.
Oh,
He pretended to believe him. And the whole issue failed, of course, of conquering Egypt. And with these lies here, Ptolemy the sixth Philometor became king of only Memphis. He became king of only Memphis, not Memphis, Tennessee, but Memphis, Egypt. Okay? We'll carry on in a moment of time. Let's take a little pause and then the second part will make sense unto us. We pause for 2 minutes. You have coffee, washroom pause, and so on.